this is a big deal. Yes, this is a very, very big deal because it's telling you things to come. So because he named his cattle Max,
Right.
that's telling us he could be getting into Bitcoin because he named one of his
All
cattle
right, guys. So
Max.
that was pretty much it here for Brendan. Thank you for joining us. We're just gonna take a quick look at Bitcoin here, man. Quick things. But actually though, he
Mm.
did have something to do with Bitcoin. I just saw a couple of news stories come up out of nowhere. Did he say anything, or he just made some sort of a
No,
giant
no, like
leap
he
into the
has
market?
two cattle. One of them is named Max. So
Okay.
because he
What's the
named
other
one of his
ones?
cattle Max, people are inferring that he could be a Bitcoin maximalist and therefore getting into Bitcoin himself, maybe even getting Facebook into Bitcoin.
I see.
So
And then the other
yeah.
cattle's name is Max or Bitcoin. That's what you're trying to
Oh,
say.
you know what? That could have something to do with it too.
But it's not the fact that he named it Bitcoin. It's the fact that he named it Max. I see your
Wait,
point.
wait, wait, hold on, hold on. Are you saying that maybe the fact that one of his cattle are named Bitcoin, that could someone could infer from that maybe
Oh
he's
man,
interested in
you're
Bitcoin?
something else, man. You're actually something else. You're something else. Guys, roast him, man. Roast him in the chats. Roast him.
No, no, no. But look, in all seriousness, whatever these cows are named, Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. I can't. All right. They could be getting into Bitcoin. If they get into Bitcoin, that will be a very, very big deal. Because
Right.
look, Tesla led the way. But if we start to see other large companies start to get into Bitcoin as well, it's not just a phase, it's a movement. Look,
Yeah.
if one person does it, that's great. If two people do it, it's a movement, it's a thing. So if we see another large company, get into Bitcoin, that is a very, very big deal. And folks, look,
Big
I
time.
like to talk about cycles and the importance of cycles, but something that you keep bringing up, which we all really need to consider, is the effects of the institutions
Forget
getting
him.
involved in Bitcoin
Forget
and
him.
crypto.
Forget him.
Yeah,
Obviously not
yeah.
forget him, but there's new things coming out, man. There's a lot of new things coming out. What I'm trying to say, there are different factors in the market right now. You got people like Elon talking random things or putting up some sort of meme or putting out any kind of joke or having a skit on SNL, and you'll see millions and millions of dollars being circulated into certain coins. So these are the different factors we're looking at right now, when Bitcoin is definitely making those, the crypto market is being driven by other things besides just the cycles themselves. So right now, this is what's happening. And you know what? Something with whatever Mark Zuckerberg just did, I think, what's his name? Elon Musk is kind of showing them the way, right? Showing them the way to go about
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
I'm assuming, right? And through memes or through jokes or whatever the case might be, because I think these guys are too smart just for a joke, man. These guys are not just Elon's not tweeting about Dogecoin and about Bitcoin just as a joke, right? It's he knows the effect that their influence has on the market, and there's ways for us to make something more mainstream. Although we keep talking the same thing, I also think memes and all that is actually bringing more and more crypto into the mainstream, and it's just leading to more and more acceptance, just showing the world that when people are interested in something, we should follow it. And I think that's also driving a lot of institutions back in here. So
Right.
that's
And
pretty good, man.
you brought up a good point earlier. We were discussing before the live stream, kind of what meme coins say about the state of the market. Are they a good thing? Are they a bad thing? And look, you brought up the point that, hey, look, these meme coins are familiarizing people with crypto. Yes, they might not have the most solid fundamentals, but I mean, everything in a risk is a risk in this market. And this market is all driven by speculation. So I mean, if meme coins is what it takes for people to learn about Ethereum, to learn about Chainlink, to learn about Polkadot, Kusama, Cardano, then hey, maybe at the end of the day, there's a net benefit
Definitely.
there. So
No,
that's just something
100%.
interesting to consider
Because
here.
I'm
So
getting a lot of messages from a lot of friends as well. Oh, how do you connect this wallet to this? How do you connect MetaMask to the Binance Smart Chain? I want to buy some, this and this and that. I want to go on
right,
Pancake. So you're seeing random people, and that's what this is doing. It is bringing the mainstream average Joe into the market, and I think overall it could be a very good thing, man. It could be a very good thing for us. So let's just see. Let's just see how that goes. But what do you want to start with first here, man? I think right now Bitcoin is literally trying to retest. So maybe I'll just if you're good, I'll just share my chart quick,
Yeah,
and then we'll
yeah, please go
switch to
ahead.
yours.
Yep.
But this is what we're looking. And guys, sorry, this was a bit of a wild, I guess, intro. But yeah, I think like we're looking at right now. Obviously, the most important thing is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is trying to test the support at the moment. There's a bunch of news out there, a bunch of catalysts, and look, it's such a frenzy that you can't really make up much of it. I think even overall, even the price action itself, even if Bitcoin falls, man, we're seeing people buying those dips right away. So you have a bunch of sellers, you have a bunch of pessimists in the market, and as equal as it is right now, more and more also buyers in the market. It's just that everything is just fluctuating. So the more data points we take into account, obviously, the better market, I guess, analysis we'd have. So right now, Bitcoin, you can see here, we're looking at the 4-hour chart. We think the 4-hour chart is probably the most important chart. As we can see here from before, we're having some sort of a rising wedge. We all know that that's kind of, it's more of a bearish pattern that we need to be careful of. And right now, Bitcoin is literally testing, or actually we're peeking through this right here at the moment. So yesterday, we had this nice pump. The whole altcoin market start to move up. And right now, we're seeing everything is mainly down. Nothing is really up besides Solana and Polkadot. It's not even like 2-3%. I'm seeing here Kusama, Uniswap, SNX, Matic, and all that. So the majority of those players are not even more than, I would say, maybe 5 to 7% movements to the upside. So what do you think, man? I think Bitcoin right now is a bit scary, to be honest.
It is. It looks weak. And so here's the thing. There's a lot of people just getting into the live stream now. So for those recently just tuning in, folks, in this live stream, what we're hoping to achieve here is going to do a market breakdown. We're also doing a challenge with ourselves. We're going to be trying to flip 1K into 10K. We're each getting $500. We're going to be talking about what we're trading, when we're buying, when we're selling through our live streams, and why, and just kind of break down and distill for you guys the most important takeaways with a bunch of high probability setups. So folks, if you like the sound of that, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, share. I see there's 18 likes. There's 77 people here. There's only 18 likes.
Yeah, actually, 83.
Folks, help get those likes up. We really appreciate it. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm. It just helps out with our channel in general. So we really appreciate it if you hit that like button. So, but let's talk about Bitcoin here, because look, myself, I'm not into Bitcoin, but we need to understand what Bitcoin is doing because it affects the rest of the market. What I mean is I don't own any Bitcoin, right. But we need to follow it. We need to track it because it will affect the market as a whole. And I believe the higher Bitcoin goes over the long term, the higher the ceiling for the alt. So it's going to be extremely critical. If we want to understand what Ethereum could do, if we want to understand what the alts could do, we need to follow and understand what Bitcoin does today and over the next few months here. So folks, Bitcoin is looking very weak in my opinion. Now we can draw this trend line here a few different ways. I believe you have yours drawn a bit different, but whatever way you slice this, Bitcoin is looking weak. Maybe we can draw a bit more of a macro wedge or another trend line that like you had drawn. But I believe this one is valid based kind of off this candle body and this candle body here. We are breaking down. We're getting fully rejected off the 50 simple moving average on the daily. Bitcoin is looking quite weak here. So I believe we have a range of support just about $54,000, from about 54,000 to about 53,000. I think there's a range of support here. You can see this is a very historically price reactive area. So if that does not hold, then I think we're probably going to fall down to this low at around 51,000. And if 51,000 doesn't hold, we're probably going to retest this low here. That low doesn't hold, I think we're retesting kind of $41,000 to $43,000 for Bitcoin here. And let's say we did fall all the way down, let's say $41,000. That would be, roughly a 35-36% correction, which is very, very common in bull markets. If we look at the 2017 bull run, we don't have the chart pulled up. We're not going to look right now, but we had plenty, 30 some odd percent corrections throughout our entire bull run. So if we do correct further, I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary. While it will suck while it's happening, I don't think it's the end of the world or the end of the bull run quite just yet.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Look, that's what we're trying to talk about here, guys, because maybe if we get a bit more specific with the numbers so you can also understand what we're talking about overall. If we're looking at the screen right now here, I have it on, yes, I do have it on my screen. So we're seeing here a couple of things, right? We'll see that Bitcoin was making those higher lows. So we dropped all the way back down here to the 47,500. Then when we dropped again, we went all the way closed. So in terms of closing on the 4 hour, the closing price is extremely important. Next one was 49,066. So the 49,000 did hold. We went all the way down, however, all the way down to the 46,930. So that just showed you that buyers rejected the price action to the bottom. Next one, we have one over here. Closing price all the way close to, what do we have here? The 54,795. And now, just yesterday on the 4 hour, we also closed somewhere close to the 55,000, somewhere above the 55,000, and we peaked to the bottom. So now this is what we're looking at in terms of Bitcoin. And that's why we're saying this is an urgent or critical point, because yesterday, so according to this slanted, I guess now, higher low formation, this rising wedge formation, we'll see here that buyers rejected any price movement below the, what do we have here? So 55,146. And look at it right now. It's literally sitting at it right now. And that's why we think if this doesn't hold right now, we have 3 hours and a half left for the day to end. We'll see if buyers actually push the price back up. And we have another candle like this one over here saying, look, we try to push the price all the way down to back here, but buyers came back in and said no. And I think that would be our second confirmation that we are actually trying to go back upwards. So what we're trying to say here is that this level specifically right now, and this is for you for later on, even if we're not live streaming this, it's good for you to know, and you keep an eye out on this. I would say somewhere closer to here, exactly the 55,142 region. If this 4 hour candle, if you go to the 4 hour time frame, if we don't close above it, then it's a bit of a problem. If we actually closed below it and significantly below it, then that's I think that's gonna really push us back down to these lower levels again. 52,000 at least for the time being, and that's when we got a bit of support below us here. So I wouldn't really be that scared, but I would still rather Bitcoin go up here as opposed to continue to fall down. So it's pretty interesting. That's the criticality of the situation right now. And you'll see, just because we're here, right, Bitcoin didn't really fall much, you'll see the whole market is panicking at the moment early on. So once Bitcoin starts to have a bit of that move upwards again, you'll see how the market will start to blow back up again. So that's the main point we're trying to say here.
Right. And I have a few things to add here. So look, I want to share some fundamental reasons why I think Bitcoin is still so long-term bullish, because while the technicals do look concerning, Bitcoin looks weak here. We're getting rejected off the 50 SMA. We're potentially breaking below our trend line here, our ascending triangle here. And while we could see a further downtrending and correction, while that is definitely possible, there are some very interesting factors going on in the market right now that I think we need to be aware of. So I really like to highlight and just keep in my back pocket different charts that have historically called either shifts in the state of the market with Bitcoin. And so one of these charts that we're looking at here is the SOPR, the SOPR from Glassnode here. So this metric is calculated by the price sold by the price paid ratio of moved Bitcoin. So again, do you really need to understand what that means, or do you just need to understand the correlation and what the impact of what this chart is telling us? Look, I think what this chart is telling us is that historically, whenever we have entered these lower regions, it has historically correlated with a local bottom, and it's been we entered these regions right before a pump. So it's just something interesting to look at. Just one factor. It's not the end all be all. Another thing as well here, we are seeing that whales are purchasing Bitcoin on this dip. So right here we're seeing what's going on the over-the-counter markets. So this is the stuff that doesn't go into the order books. This is what you don't see when you go on Binance and you look at the order books, the OTC market. So this is typically where whales go to buy Bitcoin. That way they don't move the price. That's why OTC markets exist, because if a lot of these institutions were to buy Bitcoin on the open market, I mean, they would spike Bitcoin 5K, 10K on a regular basis. So that's why the OTC markets exist. That way, there's not undue market manipulation, and we're seeing the buyers, we're seeing the institutions come in on the dips. That's very interesting to see. While weak hands are getting shaken out, the institutions are coming in and buying in large quantities. So another very interesting chart to look at here. So reserves of Bitcoin held on Coinbase is at a all-time low. Folks, what happens? What happens when demand is increasing and supply is decreasing? Can anybody take a guess? Price goes up.
There you go.
Basic economics, right? So while Bitcoin does look concerning here in the short term, we could go on to correct further, and let's say we could go on, fall all the way down to 41, 43K. The fundamentals for Bitcoin have never looked stronger. And so if, let's say, we do go on to fall all the way that low, I wouldn't be worried that this is the end of the bull run, because I think there's so many fundamental factors, off-chart factors, that point towards this very, very likely not being the top for Bitcoin, even if we go to correct further on.
In terms of the net flow volume, so exchange net flow volume in terms of USDT, basically. So every time we see a negative or a negative out of the exchanges, this is basically, guys, calculating the difference between what's coming in the exchanges or what's leaving exchanges in terms of USDT. Yesterday, I think here actually on Monday, we had a net transfer volume of almost $565 million. The last time we had something within this range was on April 23rd. So if we go back to April 23rd here on the daily chart for Bitcoin, we'll see that where was this here? April 23rd. So somewhere around here is when that influx came back in, and a couple of days after we saw Bitcoin continue to move up, right? So at every dip, you have a bunch of people trying to come in and buy that dip, and a bunch of whales actually. So right now we're seeing that also. Recently on Monday, we saw the same thing. Today, actually here, even yesterday, Tuesday, we had almost 112 million leave the exchanges. But in terms of how much actually came in, the last time we had this kind of money come back in, so $500 million worth of USDT. This is basically at least forecasting for us that, hey, look, a bunch of people are putting in money into those exchanges, specifically USDT, so they can buy a couple of things. And you often see that after a massive dip like that. So we do have some catalyst for this movement. And but then again, look, there are certain levels that I think, if Bitcoin does not hold, then even those people that are still, there's a lot of appetite still remaining in the market. Even if they're seeing this as well, it doesn't mean that, look, there's some money coming in, $500 million coming in into Bitcoin. They still wait for lower prices to actually come in. They came in with the money on April 23rd, $500 million as well, waited for a couple of days to actually buy at even more of a discount of 10%. So once we start seeing a lot of money coming in, we'll assume that, look, there should be some sort of a pump coming back up. A lot of people like to buy this dip, but then again, is it going to be for Bitcoin?